no está bien enfocado, ¿sabe, no? Boker Tov, no está bien enfocado. כן, תן לכולם לשבת, שירגעו כמה דקות. Are we ready? You're live? Do you want me to press record or no? Okay, Rabotai, good morning, everybody. Shavua Tov Mavorach B'ruchim Habayim. Thank you. I'm covering today for Rabbi Azankot, so we'll have a few minutes to learn until the next minyan comes in a short few minutes. Today is the 8th day of Iyar, corresponding to the 13th day of May 2019. The live video feed Lighthouse Torah Project לעילוי נשמת דבורה פייגה בת שמואל and רפואה שלמה of Ora Devorah Bat Rivka among the Holim of Am Israel. Amen. Today's Gemara discusses an interesting topic of certain situations that a Jew must avoid at all costs, at all times. What determines if a person is a kosher witness or not? This is an important topic in Halakha because we know that kosher witnesses are relevant in many halachic matters. If a person gets married, you need to have idim. You need to have idim for the ketubah. You need to have idim for the irusin, for the placement of the rings. God forbid the person gets divorced. You also need to have idim. You lend money. You also need to have idim. You have a halachic document, for example, heter iska, etc. You need to have idim. You have prosbol. You also need to have idim. So let's see quickly what the Gemara says. The Gemara writes, "Ve'eluhen apesulim." These are the individuals which are not qualified to be kosher witnesses. Number one, hamesahek bekubiyah, a person that is a gambler. Now, there are different types of gambling. We know that addictions are dangerous for the life of a person. And addictions come in all shapes and forms. Some people may have addictions to gambling. Other people may have addiction to alcoholism. Other people may have addiction to drugs, recreational drugs, whatever you're going to call them. So bottom line, addictions in our Torah are not welcome and are not encouraged. I thought you were talking to me. No, be careful because this is live and the video captures everything. Enjoy the breakfast. Continues. Bon dia. Continues the Gemara. Number one. So, mesahek bekubiyah. One of the worst, I should say, challenges that a person in life must overcome, it's if a person, God forbid, has an addiction with gambling. Goes to the casino on a regular basis, loses money, makes money, plays more in order to cover the losses. The Gemara says that type of behavior is definitely not conducive to nothing holy and to nothing Jewish, especially that the environment of a casino is definitely very spiritually detrimental to a Jewish life. Number one on the list. Number two, malveh beribit, a person who lends money and charges interest. Obviously, there's a Torah prohibition of charging interest. Yes, our Hachamim gave a halachic document known as heter iska. Heter iska, it's a halachic binding document that a person can generate certain return based on the investment, etc. The halacha looks at it as an investment rather than looking at it as a loan. This is not something that you do from easyforms.com, but this is something that has to be prepared by the bedin with the details of the loans, of the transaction, etc. Why? Like there is kosher food and kosher suits, there is kosher money as well. And therefore, in both cases, the person that is a gambler, the money is not kosher. Why not? Because he's making money at somebody else's losses. And Malveh Veribit, the same way. There's a Torah prohibition. You know, we know that when the Jewish people came out of Egypt, there were thousands of Yehudim who left Egypt prematurely. 300,000 of them, to be exact. And all of them, in the time of Yehezkel HaNavi, they merited to have Tehiyat HaMetim, with the exception of one. Why this one didn't have Tehiyat HaMetim? Short answer, because in Egypt, he was collecting interest from his brothers and sisters. We know that people in Egypt lived very difficult lives, and obviously in difficult times, people tell difficult measures, and this fellow happened to charge rebit. Now, interest, obviously, even in a case where a person, for example, co-signs a mortgage for someone, there is also a halachic situation there. Or somebody, for example, borrows your credit card. And I'm only throwing these cases on the table because this is not the topic that I'm going to talk in the next class. In the next class, we have a study, learning a schedule of the Sefirat HaOmer, but this happens to be today's Gemara, so I'll talk about it. So when a person, for example, borrows someone's credit card to buy something online or to buy something to be shipped overseas, and you pay the money back every month, if the money has some interest involved, that is a halachic problem. Why? Because even though you're paying the credit card directly, but the original benefit was, let's say, on $100. Now you're paying it $10 a month. Those $10 are no longer $10 and $10.74, for example. That's $11.99 a year APR, so to speak. And therefore, you need to be careful when you lend the credit card. You need to be careful. Besides being careful from a financial perspective, sometimes people tell you, yeah, not to worry, I'm going to make such a great deal in 2 months, I'll pay you the money back. And how many times these 2 months came and left and returned and came back and they went into retirement and you're still trying to collect. Another case the Gemara brings down, Sohare Shevi'it, the people who do business with the products of Shemitah. We know that in Eretz Israel, the 7th year is called Shenat HaShemitah. This is B'Shabbatah Ha'aretz Shabbat LaHashem. The land becomes a Shabbat. Like we have the weekday, every week rather, we have a day of Shabbat. In Eretz Israel, we have once every 7 years, the land goes into Shabbat mode. So what happens? The produce that the land produces, you cannot take for yourself. You can only take for yourself whatever you need for that day. The ani'im, the needy, they come and they take freely. And that's part of the source of the blessing that the person will get. As the Pasuk says, Besiviti et birkati lachem. In the merit of the Jewish people in Eretz Israel, observing the mitzvah of Shemitah, the land gets many times, it's a tremendous amount of blessing. So this fellow, Sohare Shevi'it, and it says, what lead this person to be a gambler? What leads the person to make business with something that the Torah says you're not allowed to sell the produce of the Shemitah? The Pasuk says, it's a Pasuk in the Perashah, and it says, Leochla, Belo Lishora, that the land of Shemitah is for consumption and not for business. And Rashi explains, Beze shehomed mamon la'abor abira ala mamon rasha'hu. And it says, and a person who breaks the rule in order to make money because he has an illness, it's called hemda. Hemda is the 10th commandment. The 10th commandment of the Torah, which is the source of many headaches in the life of a person, it's called Lo Tahmod. Lo Tahmod means do not covet. Do not desire what someone else has. So this fellow has such a desire for money that is willing to commit crimes or is willing to break Torah laws in order to satisfy their need. And therefore the Pasuk says, Al tashet rasha'ed. a person that is of such a caliber, so how can we trust him that he's going to say the truth whenever he's going to testify? Maybe he's being bribed in order to testify. So therefore, the Gemara of today tells us that in all these situations, a person must stay away from, which I believe that this reinforces what I threw in before. This comes from Masechet Erubin 82a. The Torah, the Halakha, is not against that a Jewish person makes money. But how do we make the money? Is it kosher food or not kosher food? Is it a kosher suit or not kosher suit? Like today's Torah portion that talks about marriages, correct? Who is a kosher wife for a Kohen? Who is not a kosher wife of a Kohen? And why does the Torah tells us all these halachot? Short answer, the Pasuk says, Bekiddashto, because a person through life must aim for holiness. And today's Gemara message is that the holiness of a person is also determined in money. As the Gemara writes also in this same Gemara, Gemara Erubin, Ha'adam Nikar, right here, Beshelosha Devarim, Amar Rabbi Elai. This is from last week's Torah portion, also from Gemara Erubin, that says, Adam Nikar Beshelosha Devarim. You can recognize a person in three different facets or areas of life. And the Gemara explains, Bekoso, Bekiso, Ubkaaso. Koso in Hebrew means a cup, the drinking habits of the person. And the drinking, I'm not referring to tea or coffee or a smoothie. I'm talking about alcoholism. How does a person drink? How often does a person drink? Does a person has an issue with drinking? That's number one. Number two, Rashi explains, Bekiso. Kiso in Hebrew means in their wallet, in their pocket. And Rashi explains, Keshenoten benoseim bnei adam, when you interact with people financially, im be'emunahu ose, is he doing it with money? And that's why the first question, if you remember the very famous question in Gemara Shabbat that says, Nasata benatata ve'emunah, first question is, how honest were you in business? And why does the Gemara put this question first, even above Torah learning? The question, order of the question is, emunah in business? Question number two, Torah. Question number three, education of the children in Torah ways. Question number four, hoping for Mashiach to come. Why do we put business priority? Short answer, because if we cannot answer the business question properly, question number 2, 3, and 4 are secondary, are irrelevant. And many people have a difficulty with this Gemara. Rabbi, are you telling me that a business is more important than Torah? Are you telling me that business is more important than educating the children? And the short answer of the Gemara is 100%. Because if you learn Torah, how can you cheat in business? And if you cheat in business, because you don't learn Torah. And that's why the Gemara uses the word nasata venatata ve'emunah. Why the Gemara uses the word emunah in business? I think that the answer is as follows. If you have emunah, you don't cheat in business. If you cheat in business, because you have no emunah. You understand? Very simple. I don't think that I need to have subtitles to understand what I just said. And the Gemara at the end says, Ub ka'aso. What's the meaning of ka'aso? Anger. But what kind of anger is the Gemara referring to? Rashi says, She'eno kafdan yoter midai, that a person is not ultra sensitive. Sensitivity in life is good to have. You are sensitive to your wife's needs. You are sensitive to the needs of the poor. You are sensitive to the needs of the needy. That is a very beautiful type of sensitivity to have. But if you are sensible, or you have sensitivity in an adverse way, meaning to say, if someone doesn't agree with you, they are wrong and you are right, or if somebody has a different point of opinion, you say automatically, they don't know what they're talking about, or if anyone says something that you don't agree with, is the end of the world. So you can tell by this type of behavior that the sensitivity that this person has, it's better to stay away from them. And that's why these two Gemarot, the Gemara from last Monday and the Gemara from today's Monday, they come from the same area. Masechet Erubin, in the middle of this Gemara. And then you may ask, but hold on a minute, Rabbi. The Gemara Erubin has to do with building an Eruv. Eruv to carry on Shabbat. Why do you bring me about business behavior and financial management and financial matters and drinking habits and financial? Short answer, because the word Eruvin comes from the word Arev. Arev means that we need to be able to interact with each other. We are not born to be secluded and to live in an island and to ignore people and to ignore feelings and to ignore emotions. Completely the opposite. The topic of this Gemara Erubin is that a person can have the Buram Benahat Aima Beriyot. As we mentioned this a while back, the one Sha'arei Kedusha brings it down and others, that one of the criterias in the life of the person is, how do you interact with humans? How do you interact with humans? Some of you were here this Shabbat afternoon, in which it took us an hour, and we didn't finish the class, but the clock came, so we have to stop, mincha time, to discuss the mitzvah, which is one of the most difficult mitzvot of the Torah to fulfill, ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha, to love your fellow man as you love yourself. And you know what was the shocking conclusion of the class? Among the many different topics that were discussed under this banner, that rule number one, when it comes to ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha, is to be the love to your wife. That is ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha. Obviously, it means to love and to respect everyone. But ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha, your wife is yourself. And that's what the Gemara says. Aohev et ishto kegufo. A man that loves his wife like he loves himself. Umchabeda yoter migufo. And honors the wife more than he honors himself. That is a great source of blessing for the family relationship and the relationship between husband and a wife. My good friends, the next minyan is about to come in, so it's a pleasure to be with you. And B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully the rabbi will be here tomorrow morning to continue with the class. Otherwise, I'll be around and we'll learn a few more minutes of Torah. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.